Good afternoon, everyone. You've tuned into Money Control. I'm Karunya Rao. Joining me is Manisha Gupta. We're here to give you an update on what's hot in commodities. Today, all eyes will be on sugar and the
Well, yes, sugar it is, Karunya, and we have seen the prices hold quite firm. Actually, when you look at the international markets, we're holding around 20 cents. Yesterday, it was those kind of levels, slightly off those numbers right now. But the strength also continues from the fact that Brazil this time around is putting in more cane for ethanol rather than sugar production. So much so that this time around, the quantum is going to 62 to 65% as well. Normally, it's 45% sugar and 55% ethanol, but 65% of ethanol production does tell you that Brazil clearly is looking at higher profits this time around. With higher crude prices, ethanol blending is clearly on the higher side for the Indian markets as well. And we all know that from 1st of June, as the ministry has announced, that there are going to be some pumps where you will get E20. So that means blending as high as 20% is also available. So the markets clearly are giving a big thumbs up to the sugar industry because of that. If you look at the Indian markets then, and we are looking at the latest ISMA numbers that have come in today, which says that the sugar production as of now stands at 34.9 million tons. Last year was, remember, 30.5 million tons. The estimate is for 35.5 million tons. So we still are working towards that higher estimate production this time around. This is an all-time high sugar production that we are looking at into the Indian markets. But even with that, the fact that 3.5 million tons of this would actually go towards ethanol is clearly supportive for the prices.
so this will take some more time, right? The new amendment that has been made to national policy for biodiesel. How much can sugar companies or sugar sector overall gain from this?
It has been gaining. When you look at the last couple of years, we have seen sugar as an industry in quite a sweet spot. The whole matter being that mills this time around have started distilleries. They also have started made investments to ensure that there is more ethanol production there, and that really seems to be yielding fruit right now. And with the kind of target that we have in front of us, from 10 to 12 to 20% by 2025, we do know that it is a bullish story in the markets here right now. And then added to the fact that the sugar prices itself seem to be garnering a good profit here. The minimum selling price for sugar is 32 rupees per kg, but we do understand that the S grade sugar is selling at 33 rupees per kg. The M grade sugar is selling at 35.5 rupees per kg, and this is ex mill prices. So retail prices for sugar are much higher. So yes, sugar as in sense of prices is doing well. The arrears are not too strong. I mean, that used to be a top story for many years. And then the ethanol story is doing well as well. So everywhere that you look, it does seem quite a sweet spot there.
And early this morning, we were talking about the sugar stock technicals with our guest in the morning show. But going by the fundamentals, the demand that you said seems to be quite strong domestically, and a host of other, things that are working for the sector. Do you think it's a good time to invest as well in stocks and not just the commodity?
Well, that's a hard one to take because we've seen such a strong run up
Yeah.
already in case of sugar stocks. I think if you are holding them, it's a great time to continue to hold them. Whether you should be investing a big chunk into this as a story, I think that is something that you should perhaps be doing very cautiously because all the good really has been factored into the markets at this point in time. The one good point that still is in work is the Indian exports in sense of sugar. 8.5 million tons is what the industry is working with right now, and that too without a subsidy. So that also is not a loss because we've seen the international sugar prices run up so strongly. Are we looking at a very strong run up in case of international sugar prices from here? No, we are not, because much of that story already has played into the prices right now. Speculative run up in many of these food commodities, not really, because we have stronger sugar availability in the Indian market, so much so that we are able to export easily and we are able to make ethanol quite easily as well. So is there a story of deficit here? Absolutely not. We're looking at almost record highs of sugar production this time around. It's a good story to stay invested in, but should you be putting a new chunk of allotment at these current levels? Maybe not really.
Well, that's some very wise advice, coming in from you, Manisha. Thanks. I hope our viewers are taking note and not feeling the FOMO and just jumping onto the bandwagon at these high levels. We need to see how the story plays out. For now, definitely very phenomenal run up already in sugar prices. So one has to be very careful before investing. Thanks once again for joining in. We'll be back, guys, tomorrow once again at 1 p.m. to get you an update on what's happening in the commodities basket. Thank you for tuning in.